what was it like finding out you were pregnant with Maddie? So just to give you kind of an idea, I have my son Malachi is 10. My daughter Kaylee is 7. They were actually 9 and 6 when I found out I was pregnant with Maddie. And I kind of went through, I want to have children, but I don't. I'm in a stage of my life where, you know, I'm financially stable, but I always felt like I wanted one more child. So I was very excited. But I think a lot of times the more children that you have, you know, as a first mom, the really good example of this is the Love's commercial. As a first mom, you know, you have all this stuff that you're packing and you're trying just to go to a day trip. Well, as a third mom or second mom, she grabbed some Cheerios and a diaper. So that was kind of like the way it was finding out with Maddie, is like, I was, not that I wasn't excited, but I was just kind of like, I got this, you know, I'm excited that I'm gonna have another baby. But I think that I just FaceTimed my family to tell them instead of having a big party. But it was very exciting to have a baby. I just think that as the more children that you have, I think that the little things like big parties and stuff doesn't matter as much. But I was excited. The next question, and this is a really hard question for me. It says, tell us about finding out Maddie has Down syndrome. And there's been, and hopefully I won't cry about this, but there's been a few times, obviously, in my life with cancer, and different things that I felt like I was brought to my knees. And I think out of everything, even my diagnosis of cancer, my rough I actually had a good childhood, but I had a couple things that were very hard in my life. But I think the hardest thing that I can think of in my entire life was being told that Maddie had Down syndrome. My husband actually came in for the 20-week ultrasound because he swore that Maddie was a boy. And my son was there and my daughter Kaylee was there. And they watched the ultrasound and I just didn't feel right. Something didn't feel right. And my husband had to go to work, so he took my son, and my daughter Kaylee and I stayed. And they took a long time to come in, and I called my husband. I said, something's wrong. And he said, oh, it's fine. They're just probably busy. I said, something's wrong. I just know it. And I remember Bobby, the nurse practitioner, came in, and she had told me that there was a lot of abnormalities. The nuchal fold thickness, which is kind of your classic thing with Down syndrome, and the missing nasal bone. And then she said there were abnormalities, of her bowel and heart. And I just remember weeping. I mean, I was weeping and weeping and weeping. And it was horrible. I was all alone and I was trying to keep myself together. And it was very hard. And honestly, it took probably about 6 weeks or so for me to get over it. I was grieving because this perfect child that I thought was taken away from me. That's what I felt. I felt that, you know, with Down syndrome, I didn't know anything about it, but everybody I knew with Down syndrome, they're disabled. I thought that, you know, my daughter, I'm never going to be alone. I'm never going to have a life. I'm always going to have this handicapped child. So that was probably one of the hardest things in my life that I've been through. It was so scary too, the process, because we had to go and check out her heart. They gave us the option of abortion 3 times, and, you know, we chose not to do that. But it was very, very hard. I mean, I think that if you want to get a person or a mother at their weakest, it's hard, you know, do something where it involves their children. And that hit me hard. And it's something that's very, very sensitive to me. However, the next question says, looking back with what you know now, What is something that you would tell yourself then? What surprised you? So I look back at the way I reacted to that diagnosis, and it's kind of funny to me that, you know, I made such a big deal of it because, you know, people, I think that these parents out here or with kids with Down syndrome have been a huge influence in my life. You know, somebody with Down syndrome does not mean that they're a retard, as is something that somebody calls a lot of people, or that they're ugly, or that they're, you know, they're going to be just dysfunctional. I've seen so many people who are so functional. And I think that if I could tell myself then what I know now, I would have encouraged myself and say, it's going to be okay. I think that, you know, one of my fears is, you know, what if people look at Maddie and say, oh my gosh, she's so ugly? And on the contrary, I don't feel that way. I think she's so beautiful. Yes, she has Down syndrome. Yes, you know, she looks a little different, but I think that I'm just shocked on her beauty. I think that if I could have told myself, you know, it's just like any other kid where you're going to have growing pains. You're going to have times, you know, where you're going to sit up at night crying. I mean, it's just like having my other two children. And I think that I thought that it was going to be something so much different, but it's just like having another kid. And I would have reassured myself and said, it's going to be okay. And you're not going to have a kid that can't do anything and can't be beautiful, because she is. My life with Maddie is the question. What is your life with Maddie like now? And I feel like my life is way more fulfilled now than it was before. I think that she brings me so much joy. She brings my family so much joy. I'm actually shocked with her brother and sister, how much they've welcomed her in their lives, just like another baby. And I've seen both of my kids and my husband and I grow. I think one of the biggest things that got me through that was my husband and the people that have been through similar situations. So I feel like my life with Maddie is like a normal mom, where I have struggles. I'm trying to find a babysitter. I'm trying to get her enough food. We are elated every time she reaches a milestone. So I don't know. I think my life is more fulfilled with her. And she's just the happiest, sweetest soul. So I'm just thankful I'm her mommy.